Go.
Ye- Hi.
Hi.
How are you, Amanda?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really. It seems like you're very happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what's been going on?
Let me see. Well, I think I'm finding my way into my new role at work.
That's
Um,
good.
yeah, as a therapist intern. So that's kind of been exciting and um, kind of overwhelming, but not as much as it was in the first couple of weeks. So
hmm
that's been good.
So it's been how long since we've seen each other?
Maybe a month or so.
A month. Okay.
Yeah.
So aside from doing well in your new position, getting settled, is there anything else positive that's happened since the last time I saw you?
Um, Positive. Well, the semester's almost over, so that's positive.
Good. Yeah.
So starting to look forward to the holidays are coming up, so that's exciting. Getting
hmm
to spend time with family. Um, yeah, I don't know. Those are pretty positive. My kids have been healthy overall. They're in their kind of winter sports stage, so I've been running them everywhere.
Okay. Um. So to get started, is there anything you would like to talk about today?
Yeah. So since I've started this new position, the regular supervisor went on maternity leave like the week after. So she's back now.
Okay.
And it's kind of a weird situation for me because I've been there at the agency twice as long as she has. Um, and I've known her, for quite a while. Um, but I don't know how that relationship's going to go because I've never had somebody supervise me who's been there less time than me. Um, but in a role that she has more experience and that's what I need. So more experience, like in a clinical aspect, where all my experience is more of like a direct care with the kids
Right.
um, aspect. So
Is this her first position or does she have experience somewhere else? Is this
it's her first. Well, she used to work. Oh, we have an on-campus school, and so she worked over there as a supervisor for maybe 9 months, and then she came over to the residential side, where so she's a residential clinical supervisor
okay, so that was her first position was the school one?
as a supervisor. Yeah, but before that, she had worked as a therapist in the cottages.
Okay. So your concern is that she has a little less experience than you in working with children, is that right?
Yes, and in the setting that we work in with
In the setting?
trauma and attachment kids.
Okay. Can you tell me what is causing that concern?
Um, I think just hearing people have experiences with her before, she can be abrasive sometimes.
Okay.
And but part of me just wonders if that's because she's a fairly new supervisor, so really wants to come across and this is the way you do it, and this is how you do it, and things like that, and not really open to hearing other people's perceptions because she's trying to prove herself to her supervisor that she's capable of the role.
Right. Okay. Has she ever been abrasive to you? Have you seen that?
I haven't personally, no. But she's just came back from maternity leave on Monday, and this was her second child. Not that that makes it any easier to come back to work. Um, but she was just very short with everybody and just, I don't know, has just kind of like this stern look on her face. And obviously the transition back's hard for her.
Right.
But it was definitely not like her personality. I mean, it was just very different and standoffish. And
so you from the week that you knew her before she left, it's different than that?
Well, and even my experiences before with her, not as my supervisor, she was never really that way.
Okay. So you've seen her and worked with her for a year and a half at least? Like you've known of her?
Oh, well, I've known her for like 7 years, probably.
7 years. And
yeah, through the same agency, yeah.
You've never witnessed her be abrasive?
I've never witnessed it, but I've heard about it.
Okay. Okay. Oh. I got a cold, so I got to mute it every time. Okay. So, what are you, like, thinking about her having that less experience? What kind of thoughts does that bring to your mind?
This sounds horrible, and I don't want it to come across this way, but that I know more than her, and not the whole aspect, but in basically what really happens on the floor with the kids and the parents, and not just an hour a week in a therapy session. Yeah.
So, do you get any kind of like feelings or physical feelings from thinking about that?
Well, sometimes it makes me feel mad, or frustrated that, that she feels like, I guess I'm in a unique position because I can see both sides. I can see the clinical side, and I can see, the daily grind of the kids and their family. So I think my frustration would be that she's not willing to look at the whole picture and just as it more clinically diagnosis, this is why they're doing it, and this is the intervention that we're going to use, and not that, that's not going to work for this kid because of all the other stimulus or all the other factors that are going on, the way that they impact them.
Have you witnessed this?
Not from her, but in the agency, sometimes there's a very big disconnect between, clinical or administrative people and,
okay.
Staff.
So you have seen something like this happen before, where there's a disconnect, and now you're associating that with her because she's in a position where she's never had your experience.
Right.
This could cause problems. Is that?
I don't know if it's problems. It's maybe more of, I don't know. I don't want you to use the word problems.
Okay.
Tension?
Okay. That's a good word.
Okay, yeah.
So, and then what does that tension mean? What does it mean to you?
Because I think we both have kind of strong personalities. I mean, I'm not as abrasive as she is, but I don't think so. But I would feel like I would advocate for more of, not necessarily like the clinical aspect, but what I know and what I feel comfortable with, because I'm not totally comfortable with that. Especially sometimes the way that she would interact with parents and having conversations with them about their child and about what they can do differently. I have witnessed those. My style's just not like that. I'm kind of want to take time to build more of a relationship with the parents and really have a lot more empathy for them, and really take their input instead of just kind of telling them what they have to do and this is why you have to do it.
Right.
But that seemed to work for her, but it doesn't work for me.
Okay. So that tension could cause problems, and then also, do you think that tension could cause problems with your working with the clients by yourself?
No. It's more of maybe her challenging me, and I don't have a problem being challenged, but I would have a problem being challenged by her telling me to do it her way and not like put my spin on it or with my personality on it. Like,
Right.
you have to do it this way and you have to do it that way.
Instead of having a discussion of different ways and
Right. Or
Right.
like, hey, well, what if I said it as blah, 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 instead of blah, 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 blah. So things like that. And then another thing that's kind of squirrely with the whole thing is that since she's my supervisor, she can't be my practicum supervisor. So I have a practicum supervisor who's just basically going to supervise me until May.
Right.
It would be silly to have supervision with her once a week and supervision with my Chaddock supervisor. I don't know the differentiation, but I'm worried that that's going to add more tension to it, like not understanding why she can supervise 8 therapists, but this one over here, me, she can't supervise 2. So is that her giving up too much control and feel like she's missing out on information, which obviously wouldn't be in the case. And if she wanted to sit in on my supervision, I wouldn't care.
Right.
Maybe that's a way to problem solve it too, but I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I'm not used to being supervised by someone with her kind of personality, I guess.
Okay. And then also kind of having 2 different supervisors at the same time.
Yeah, like, I go to you, but if I need something that's not practicum related, do I come over here to you? If I'm sick and can't go to work, or one of my kids are sick, so I'm just going to hit both of them with it. But I don't want her to feel like left out or why can't. I don't know. It might just be me looking way more into it than I should, but it still just makes me pretty anxious.
Okay. So you said it's causing anxiety. Is that anxiety causing any problems in the rest of your work life or at home or anything?
No, I've gotten pretty good at just kind of leaving work at work and coming home and not thinking about it. I guess at work it's caused me a little bit of anxiety. Like, did I make the right choice? Yes, I made the right choice, but would she agree with me that was the right choice?
Right.
Or would she be able to understand why I said this and I didn't say that?
And what kind of problems could that cause if she does think that you didn't make the right choice?
Well, I think, again, it kind of goes back to the challenge, which I'm fine with being challenged. You learn from being challenged, but again, it's kind of the way she presents that challenge. Sometimes she kind of can really make you doubt yourself, I guess, is what it comes down to. And when you're trying to learn, but then still trying to please people, that makes it hard.
Yeah, it's hard to try to please everyone and make everyone happy while trying to do your job.
Right, I'm wanting to do a good job, and then other people knowing that, well, you're just an intern anyway, so it's like you're already way down here and you're trying to work up here. And
okay. So is there, I'm hearing a lot of concern though about her having that less experience and then challenging you with that less experience. Can you tell me what that says about you if she does challenge you?
Well, a lot of what I pride myself in is knowing what I do know from my experience. I mean, I have 13 years of it. So I guess for her to doubt that would really just put me back.
Okay. And then what kind of feelings would you get from being put back? Or
Oh my gosh, I would be mad. I would, I think I would have a lot of feelings of mistrust.
Okay.
Or not being valued, I guess.
So can you turn that feeling of not being valued into an automatic thought, maybe what you're thinking to yourself or what you see in yourself?
That I didn't do it right, or that I messed it up. It wasn't good enough. I should have done it better. I should have seen that. I should have responded different. Just a lot of things, really.
Okay. What kind of images?
Images. I guess I just kind of see myself not having a voice, or just might as well not kind of say anything.
And then when you're thinking that, it makes you feel like you have no value. You get angry.
Right.
Right? Okay. Okay. So then you think about those automatic thoughts and thinking about, I messed it up. So let's, again, think about what that says about you if you did mess it up.
Well, that I failed.
Okay, I failed.
Mm-hmm. I think that's
So
the biggest one for me is failing.
So I'm a failure?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can we then, let's talk about some of the things that prove that you're not a failure then. Some of the things that's happened recently or at all that you can talk about or think about to yourself that this is why I'm not a failure because of all these reasons.
Well, I've almost completed grad school.
Heck
So
yeah.
that's a pretty big deal. I mean, my kids do well. They act like they have some sense a lot of the time. I've taken chances before, especially at work. I did the same role for 10 years because I was afraid of going to something else and then failing. But I proved that I could be successful with that role and then transitioning into this role. So, I think that there's several things that I've done that I'm not a failure, but it's just still that kind of sense of what if.
Right, because it sounded like you went for 10 years thinking, I don't want to try anything new because I might fail.
Yeah.
Is that correct? I don't want to put
No, that's right. Because I was good at what I did. I knew
After
the
10
kids,
years,
I knew the program, I knew the rules, I knew it.
Okay. So, and then everything changed when you started grad school? Is that when it changed?
Well, it was before I started grad school. I kind of been thinking of going back to school just because I wanted to stay at the agency that I'm at, but, to advance, a bachelor's wasn't really going to get me anything that was really going to challenge me. So I felt
Okay.
like, you know, I had been in this role and I needed to be challenged and I was wanting to grow. And so really the only way to do that, I think, with anything in social work is to get your master's degree. So.
And now here you are. You're definitely not a failure.
No, right.
Right?
Yeah.
Is there anything in your past that might prove that you are a failure?
Not that I'm a failure, but I guess maybe that other people not necessarily saw me as a failure, but maybe didn't think that I was good enough or something.
Okay. And then, so can you think of any specific situations of that?
Well, I think sometimes looking back on it now, you know, there were some situations I think I was essentially bullied. So that doesn't really set well with you. You know, and then when my parents divorced, you know, my dad basically just up and left town and got remarried and the whole thing, and then hasn't reached out to my brother and I. So, you know, that kind of, I'm more at peace with it now, but, you know, it can really kind of throw you for one.
So there's these things in your past that shaped the way you were thinking now.
Oh yeah, I would say.
And then almost caused you to have the same job for 10 years, or I guess it did.
Mm-hmm.
Because you were afraid of failure. But now it sounds like you've done phenomenal at pushing yourself and growing in the last couple years. When did you change jobs then, if it was before grad school?
Well, it was right before grad school. Like well, I guess it was a year before, because I switched jobs in October and then I was accepted in February and then we started that fall. So it was probably a year
Okay.
into that
So,
job,
like,
but the process had already started.
So the last 3 to 5 years almost,
Mm-hmm.
you've really proven to yourself that you're not a failure.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's some really good value in that when, if she comes across and says that or challenges you and you start to feel like you are a failure because you did something wrong, or maybe whether she's right or wrong about it, is doing one thing wrong and one thing make you a failure?
No.
Okay.
And I've done things wrong before, but you know, people are just have a better personality that clips with my personality when they tell you about it.
So it's not just the fact that you could do something wrong. It's how she would go about it that would kind of trigger that feeling of failure.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then we would need to think of ways, if that were to happen, where you would think to yourself, I'm not a failure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even use what was the thing we came up at the very beginning?
Oh my gosh. I can only do what I can do, and I can't do it all, or something like that.
Something like that, right? Yeah. I can only do what I can do.
Yeah.
And then we could add to that, I'm not a failure.
Mm-hmm.
Because it sounds like you're not a failure. And then also some of the thoughts that you have about her having less experience than you, that sounds like it might be causing some of the problems as well, where if someone with less experience comes up to you and says, you did this the wrong way, that hurts a little bit more than somebody who does have more experience and is trying to help you.
Right.
Is that right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think of it as like I did something wrong, and then a little kid comes up and tells me, like, what do you know?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So So that's another thing. Just think about the experience that you have and how much of failure you're not and what you've done. And then take that into account if you ever feel in that situation. So can I tell you something from my personal past? Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I've been in this situation like 3,000 times. Not in this profession, but yeah, I know it's an exaggeration, 3,000, but
Yeah.
So in the military, it happens quite a lot where someone with less experience comes in and is in charge of you. So as a listed person, you've been in maybe 3 or 5 years. You've had a couple deployments, and then somebody comes in from college. They're an officer. They're just straight from college. They're like 22 years old, and they're in charge of you.
Mm-hmm.
And they're telling you what to do and telling you the right things, just exactly like you were talking about, certain ways trying to make sure that everybody knows who they are, right?
Mm-hmm.
The best thing I found is to use exactly what you said, right? If somebody does something wrong that has less experience than you, doesn't mean that the success you've had in life is invalid. Everything you've done up to this point is still a success, even if this one small thing from someone who's less experienced than me has pointed it out, even if it's a child, that doesn't invalidate anything that you've ever done in your life. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the last time I'm going to see you.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about everything that we have done.
Okay.
What are the things you remember us talking about in the last 5 sessions?
Let me think. Well, we talked a lot about stress and anxiety, and how my automatic thoughts aren't true thoughts. Yeah, we've talked about a lot, and then it's, oh no, right there. Are you frozen?
Are you there?
Yeah, you froze for a minute.
Okay, it stopped at you were talking about your automatic thoughts.
Oh, okay. So we're talking about a lot about my automatic thoughts and my anxiety and stress that I have, and just kind of different ways to handle those, or to work through them, or to feel less of that way.
Okay, and do you remember some of the ways that we talked about?
Well, like the first one about kind of the self-talk,
Right.
That I can only do what I can do, and that's okay.
Okay.
So I found myself using that. I do use that one a lot, just telling that, I can only do what I can do. I can't do it all, but I'm doing the best that I can.
Right. And then another one we talked about was the distancing, what you would tell a friend.
Oh, yes.
If they were in the same situation. And
Mm-hmm.
if I'm remembering right, this didn't work out as well for you?
Yeah, I think so.
You think it did work or it didn't work?
No, I think you're right that it didn't.
Yeah, okay. So that's just something we would move on from, and you just would move on from that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we tried the DTR, the dysfunctional thought record.
Yeah, I did like that. That's the one where it really kind of let me help me organize my thoughts and put them out there and really rate things. And yeah, so I did like that one.
Okay. And then we kind of came back to the self-talk at the end, because it sounds like it's the most effective.
Mm-hmm.
Where
yeah.
Now at the beginning it was, I'm doing the best I can, and all I can do is what I can do. And now what we're going to be adding to that is something that's going to challenge the core belief of I'm a failure, where we think I'm not a failure. Right?
Right.
These are all the reasons why I'm not a failure, even in the smallest instance. So that's good. Good that you have that now. You've made good progress just in the 5 sessions on learning how to use those things and being aware, and then also telling me what doesn't work and what does work and what doesn't work. Because are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's okay. You're frozen, but I can hear you. Now I can't hear you. Yeah.